My name's Daniel Mercer, 32 years old, born in Portland, Oregon. And this is the story I've never told anyone. I call it the coffee she offered. It started on a Thursday, not a particularly special Thursday, one of those gray, rainy ones where the city feels like it's been wrapped in cold wax paper. The kind of day where the only warmth you feel is from the paper cup in your hand or the flicker of a neon sign in a corner cafe. I'd been doing delivery work for almost 2 years. Mostly groceries, takeout, the occasional oddball order, a single cantaloupe at 9 in the evening, a bouquet of roses with no card, once even a gallon of milk and a wedding dress in the same trip. You learn to stop asking questions in this job. But then I got her order. It came through the app. A medium cappuccino with almond milk, a cranberry scone, and a small, gift-wrapped package addressed to Lena M. The note said, "Call upon arrival." When I knocked on the apartment door, she opened it in a soft, oversized sweater, hair pulled into a loose bun that somehow looked intentional. She had eyes like the part of the ocean that doesn't catch sunlight. Deep, shadowed, but alive with movement. "You're quick," she said. Her voice was low, textured. I handed over the coffee, the scone, and the small wrapped box. "Order for Lena?" She took them but lingered in the doorway, looking at me like she was deciding something. Then she smiled. Not the wide, easy kind, but one that felt like a secret being passed across the air. "Can I tip you with coffee?" she asked. I blinked. "You mean another cup?" "Not exactly," she said. "Come in. I just brewed a pot. It's better than whatever you picked up from that place." In my line of work, you don't usually cross thresholds. You drop off, you smile, you leave. But the way she said it, it wasn't flirtatious exactly. It was an invitation to step into a different temperature. I hesitated, told myself I had other orders to run, but then I stepped inside. Her apartment smelled faintly of cinnamon and something sharper, jasmine, maybe. Plants lined the windowsill. There was a turntable in the corner, playing something slow, something with a brushed snare and a woman's voice. She poured me a cup in a dark green mug. "I don't usually do this," she said. "Neither do I." I took a sip. She was right, it was better. Rich, almost smoky. "What's in the box?" I asked, nodding at the wrapped package. Her fingers tensed around her own cup. "Something I shouldn't have ordered," she said, and left it at that. We talked for maybe 20 minutes. She was an illustrator, grew up in Maine, moved here 3 years ago after what she called a complicated ending. I told her I used to work in logistics before the company downsized. That delivery work was supposed to be temporary, but the months had a way of slipping. The whole time, I felt this undercurrent, like the conversation was a surface and something heavier was moving below it. Her eyes kept flicking toward the window, as though she expected someone. When I finally left, she walked me to the door. "Thanks for staying," she said. Then, almost too quiet to hear, "It's nice to have someone here when the rain gets loud." I didn't think much of it until 3 days later, when I got another order from her. This time it wasn't coffee, it was groceries. Bread, eggs, a bottle of red wine, and another note, "Please come up." When I arrived, she looked paler. Same sweater, different day. "Do you believe in coincidences, Daniel?" she asked. "I guess so," I said. She looked at the door, then back at me. "Because I don't." I was about to ask what she meant when there was a sudden knock behind me, hard, deliberate. Her expression changed completely. Her lips parted, her eyes wide, her hands tightening on the grocery bag. "Don't answer it," she whispered. The knock came again, louder. I glanced at her, then at the door. The music had stopped. Outside, the rain hit the windows like fingertips. And for reasons I still don't fully understand, I stayed exactly where I was. The knock came again, 3 sharp raps, the kind that felt rehearsed. Lena's eyes didn't leave mine, but her breathing shifted shorter, faster. "Daniel," she whispered, "just don't move." I could feel the weight of whatever was happening pressing against the walls. My first instinct was to say something smart, something casual to cut the tension, but the look in her eyes stripped me of words. "Lena, it's me, A male voice called from the other side, calm, confident, like someone who assumed the door would open. She flinched at the sound, then grabbed my wrist. Not in fear exactly, but in a way that said, "You're part of this now whether you like it or not." I lowered my voice. "Who is it?" She didn't answer. The knock became pounding. "I know you're in there," the man said. "We need to talk." I glanced toward the door. I'd been in fights before. Nothing dramatic, just the occasional bad night outside a bar. But there was something about the way this guy spoke. It wasn't anger. It was control. Like he'd already planned out the conversation we were going to have. And the ending too. "Lena, don't say my name," she cut in sharply, her grip on my wrist tightening. The pounding stopped. Silence. Then the sound of footsteps fading down the hallway. We stood there, listening. When she finally let go, I could see her hands trembling. "You should go," she said, but it didn't feel like a dismissal. It felt like a warning. I hesitated, but left. As I stepped into the hall, the air felt colder, heavier, like something had just passed through and left a residue. The corridor was empty, but halfway down I caught the faintest scent of cologne. Sharp and woody, the kind that clings. Over the next week, I tried not to think about her. Delivery work kept me moving. Downtown drop-offs, long waits in restaurant lobbies, climbing narrow stairwells with paper bags cutting into my fingers. But the image of her in that sweater, whispering for me not to answer the door, kept coming back. Then late Friday night, the app buzzed again. An order from Lena M. Same note, "Please come up." When I got there, she was sitting cross-legged on the floor, a half-empty wine glass beside her, sketchbook open. She looked up at me like she wasn't sure whether to smile. "You came back," she said. "You ordered," I replied, setting the bag down. We sat there, and she told me about the man at the door. His name was Aaron. They'd been together for almost 4 years. He wasn't violent, not in the obvious way, but he had a way of making her feel like she owed him something. Even now, a year after she left, he'd find her, call her from blocked numbers, leave little notes under her door. "And the package last week?" I asked. Her fingers brushed the rim of her wine glass. "It was something he sent me. I don't even know how he got this address. I didn't open it." She said it like she was ashamed. Not of him, but of the fact that she'd kept it. The rain started again outside, pattering against the window. She reached into a drawer and pulled out the box, still wrapped, still untouched. "I've been scared to throw it away," she said. "Like it'll make things worse." "You want me to?" I asked. She looked at me for a long moment, then nodded. I didn't open the box that night. I tossed it into the dumpster behind a 24-hour laundromat on my way home. But when I got back to my apartment, I couldn't shake the feeling that I just made a choice I didn't understand. Around 2 a.m., my phone buzzed. Unknown number. No message, just a photo. Picture of me taken earlier that evening, standing in the rain outside Lena's building. No caption, just proof that someone was watching. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the photo. My own face under the streetlight, rain coming down in blurred silver lines. Whoever took it had been close enough to see the way my shoulders hunched against the cold. By morning, I'd convinced myself it was a mistake. Some mix-up. Except mistakes don't come with a timestamp that matches the exact moment you were standing outside a woman's apartment, doing something you shouldn't. I didn't tell Lena. Not yet. The next few days, I tried to drown it in routine. I ran deliveries until my legs ached. I called my mom. First time in months, but the conversation soured fast. She said I was wasting my degree, that Dad would have wanted me to aim higher. She didn't say since he died, but I heard it anyway. My father's absence still hung in every sentence between us. That night, I was on my way to drop off an order when a black sedan slowed beside me. I heard the window roll down before I even looked. "Daniel Mercer," a voice said. Calm, precise. "Aaron." I didn't need to see his face to know. He smiled faintly, eyes scanning me like I was something on a shelf. "You've been visiting Lena." I kept walking. "You should stop," he called after me. "Not for my sake. For yours." I told myself I wouldn't see her again. I told myself I'd stay out of it. But then the next night, she called not through the app, but my personal number. "Can you come over?" she asked. Her voice was thin, frayed. When I got there, she was sitting on the couch, knees pulled to her chest. The apartment was dark except for the kitchen light. "He was here," she said. "He left something on my door." She handed me an envelope. Inside was a single Polaroid. Her asleep in bed, light from the street lamp cutting across her blanket. "Was the door locked?" I asked. "Yes." Her voice cracked on the word. I felt my pulse in my fingertips. "Lena, you need to go to the police." She shook her head. "I did before. They told me unless he breaks in or hurts me, there's nothing they can do. That's the thing no one tells you. Danger doesn't always announce itself with a weapon. Sometimes it's a presence, a shadow that follows you home, stands outside, and lets you know it's there." Over the next week, I started staying at her place when I could, just to make sure she wasn't alone. We didn't talk about what we were, or if we were anything at all. Some nights we barely spoke, just sat in the kitchen drinking coffee at 2 a.m. while rain hit the glass. One night, I asked her, "Why me? Why let me in that first day?" She looked at me over her mug. "You didn't look through me," she said. "Most people do." It was quiet for a long moment before she added, "Also, I think I knew you'd stay if I asked." She was right. The breaking point came 2 weeks later. I just dropped off an order when my phone buzzed. Another unknown number. This time it was a video. Shaky camera. My apartment door. Someone jiggling the handle, then whispering my name before the screen went black. I went straight to Lena's. She was pacing the living room when I told her. "We can't keep pretending this will go away," I said. "I know," she whispered. That night, she packed a small suitcase. We drove out of the city to my uncle's cabin by the coast, a place I hadn't been in years. We stayed there 3 days. No calls, no knocks, just the sound of waves against the rocks. On the 4th morning, she woke before me. I found her standing on the porch, staring at the horizon. "I can't run forever," she said. "Neither can you." We went back. The first thing I noticed when we walked into her apartment was the box, the same one I'd thrown away, sitting neatly on her kitchen table. There was no note this time. She didn't open it. Neither did I. But I knew then this wasn't about coffee anymore. It was about what we choose to keep, even when it poisons us, and what we're willing to risk to throw it away. That night, I couldn't stop staring at the box on her table. The paper was damp in one corner, like it had been out in the rain. Whoever had left it hadn't just been here. They'd taken their time. Lena wouldn't touch it. She sat on the couch with her knees drawn up, arms wrapped around herself. I could tell she was somewhere far away. I pulled my phone out. "We should call the police. They'll take the box. They'll take my statement. And then I'll come home and there'll be another box." Her voice was steady, but her eyes said she was exhausted of Aaron, of fear, of always waiting for the next shadow. I picked up the box. "Then maybe we need to open it." She flinched. "No." I hesitated, then tore the paper. Inside was a single photograph. It was of me and Lena, from behind, walking down her hallway the night I first came in for coffee. The date was scrawled on the back in ink. Some beginnings are mistakes. The police came anyway because I called them. They took the box, made notes, promised to look into it. Lena stood at the window while they talked to me, staring down at the street like she expected him to be there, smiling up. After they left, she said quietly, "You didn't have to do that. Now you're part of it." "I was part of it the moment you opened the door," I told her. Days blurred. The rain came and went. Deliveries stacked up. My mother left me another voicemail, her voice tight with the unspoken. "Call me back, Daniel. You can't just disappear from people's lives." I didn't know if she meant herself or someone else entirely. Then, one Thursday evening, Lena called while I was in the middle of a drop-off. Her voice was sharper than I'd ever heard it. "Don't come here. He's inside." The line went dead. I left the bag of food sitting on someone's front step and ran. My mind was a mess of scenarios. Her hurt, him gone, the police too late. When I reached her building, the front door was ajar. Her apartment door was open too. She was standing there, pale but upright. No Aaron. Just her, holding the same black and white photograph from the box. "He left it on my bed," she said. And then he left. I took the photo from her hands and tore it into pieces. She watched but didn't stop me. We never saw him again. Maybe the police scared him off. Maybe he got bored. Maybe he was waiting for a better moment. I don't know. What I do know is that I kept showing up. Even when the knocks stopped, even when the boxes stopped appearing, I still found reasons to be there. Some nights for dinner. Some nights just to watch the rain with her. It's been a year now. We're together, though neither of us calls it that out loud. Some things are too fragile to name. Sometimes, late at night, she'll pour me a cup of coffee and we'll sit in silence. I'll think about how we met, about the door I should have never stepped through, about how love can arrive wearing the clothes of danger. And I've learned this. Some people come into your life carrying their own storms. You can try to shield them or you can step inside with them, knowing full well you'll get wet. But if you're lucky, somewhere in that rain, you might find the one person who'll look you in the eye and see you, not through you. And that's worth carrying, no matter how heavy it gets.